I'll just open it right now. The was it September 23rd?
Yep.
Petaluma City School Board meeting. Open. Ms. Klobowski, would you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Oh, I forgot what the pledge was. Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments from the public? There's seeing nobody out there. I doubt there's any comments from the public. So we will adjourn. Don't get ahead of yourself there. We will adjourn to a closed session. All right, I'd like to reconvene the meeting of the Petaluma City Schools Board of Education. If you all rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. Phoebe, how about
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I want to move on to item E, adoption and approval of the agenda. I didn't hear any requests for any changes to the agenda, so I'll take a motion. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda. Okay, item F, public hearing. I'm going to open up a public hearing under the sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials for 2014-2015 school year. So we are open for a public hearing. Do I have anybody wishing to speak on this item? Going once? Please come up.
Hi.
Hello.
So I'm still at the point where I'm still flipping them on and off. My name's Kim Bauman. I teach at Grant School. I've been teaching for 23 years. And I really don't want to be up here tonight. I'd rather be planning my day tomorrow or eating dinner with my family. But I really feel that it's time for all of us to speak up. Concerning technology, I feel that the district is a little bit obsessed with technology. I don't feel that kindergartners need to be going one-to-one with a device. I think that kindergartners need to learn to read from their teacher. They need to learn how to work in small groups. They need to learn how to build friendships. I think that technology has its place, but I think programs exist for a reason and programs work. I also believe that when you're passing out technology to teachers, you're under-training them, and then sometimes they don't work. We need to have something to fall back on. And that's about it.
Yeah, hang on a second. Any questions?
I do have some questions. The sufficiency of textbooks, so I want to make sure I understand. I understand about the technology aspect, but we are doing some transitioning from hard to electronic versions.
What I'm saying is if you have a teacher who teaches K-6,
Right.
during our day, you are expecting us to cover math, reading, science, social studies, PE, and that's just the hardcore curriculum that has nothing to do with the well-being, emotional, social of the child.
Right.
And you basically are not giving us stuff to work with except a device that doesn't always work. And I feel that kids today get so much technology. I mean, they're pretty much born with it. They pretty much know how to work an iPhone when they come out of the womb. And I've been teaching for 23 years, as I said. I've taught K through 5. I don't know much about anything else, but I know about teaching. And I worked for the Consortium on Reading Excellence. I traveled all around the country teaching teachers how to teach. With Common Core, you need to understand, people don't understand it's not a program. It's strategies, it's good methods for teaching. You have programs that are laid out that make sure that you're covering and reading, how to summarize, how to predict, how to make connections. And by putting people on a device, you're just losing so much. I think that the district needs to think about giving us some backup materials and some other things. The other thing I'm concerned with is there's so much flexibility with Common Core, which is great. What about the people who don't feel strongly in science? We need materials. That's it.
The textbooks that you do have in the classrooms, the Mifflin and the Vision Math, are teachers feeling that they're any use any longer, or they're not aligned with Common Core, so teachers aren't feeling that they're a good tool?
No, as I said, I think Common Core is strategies that you can use. So what I have done is I use the Envision. Giving the district a workshop on number talks is not a curriculum. That's one thing you can do for 5 minutes of math. Okay, so I have used the Envision and continue to use it because I personally need a scope and sequence. If teachers are doing randomly, worksheets out of a binder, they are not covering everything. You need to have a scope and sequence. You need to be sure you're hitting everything. Those binders are really, if you look in a lot of them, they're worksheets for math. It's not a program. So what I'm saying is, yes, I believe I still use the Houghton Mifflin, but it's workable to fit all the Common Core into that. You're pushing it in, you're pushing the strategies in, but you're not abandoning things. We cannot abandon things that work.
Any other questions?
Sure. So if you were designing a system, I think I heard you say you didn't think one-on-one devices was a good fit for kindergartners. When would you introduce technology if you had your way you were
No,
designing?
I think kindergartners should go to computer lab, and maybe, having devices in your classroom is great. I'm just saying, I think that there's such a focus on that, and there's not a focus on training teachers really how to use it. It takes a long time to learn how to use technology and incorporate it into your classroom. But I think that by emphasizing it so much, you're really just taking away from what you can do with a story as a teacher and in reading and experiencing that together by plugging them into another screen. So I'm not saying not to introduce technology in kindergarten.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I didn't think you were like an anti-technology person. I didn't hear that at all. I just was wondering how you would like to see it introduced.
I use my Chromebooks every single day. I use them for leveled reading, and there's always a purpose to their reading, and it always involves doing something on the Chromebook, whether it's making a Google Doc and summarizing, or making a prediction, or taking an AR quiz. But what I'm saying is a lot of times the technology doesn't work. It's really, really frustrating when you have planned this great lesson and you have your parent volunteers coming in and it's just spinning and spinning, right? And so teachers need something to fall back on. I just think that the people who wrote textbooks are very intelligent, smart people. They work, and my personal belief is that teachers, as qualified as we are, should not be developing curriculum.
Just to clarify, so do teachers feel like they're able to still use their Houghton Mifflin? I mean, this is in the elementary school level, obviously. So those are resources that you all can use and are comfortable using. The Houghton Mifflin and the. So going forward, is it looking like you would like textbooks in addition to technology? Is that, or your existing textbooks that you have?
I would say you'd have to ask all the teachers how they feel about that. I just, personally, from a standpoint of high achievement, I don't believe in just devices. I really think that people, you take a new teacher and you say, oh, well, math, we're doing rounding. What you kind of have people doing is pulling worksheets out of binders. A worksheet is not a lesson on how to round numbers. And some of us need to have, oh, this is a great idea on rounding, and they're not in those binders. We need explicit lesson plans on how to teach. And by using programs, the kids don't fall through the cracks because you're sure to cover all that. It's already laid out for you. You don't have to. It's impossible for teachers to go home every night and say, oh, okay, I'm going to reinvent the wheel for science tomorrow. I'm going to come up with some great plan for math. It's just impossible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any other speakers on this time? Okay, I need speaker cards.
For this, I did.
We can
You
go
can do
ahead.
it, you can do it. Yeah, just grab one, right in.
Hi.
So I'm going to ask you all, if there's anybody else who wants to speak on this, I need a speaker card now.
Sorry.
Otherwise, we have speaker cards in and those are the speakers. So fill out your speaker cards if you want to speak to this item now.
Thank you, I'm sorry, I had a speaker card in there, but I didn't realize it was for this particular.
I didn't have it.
Karen Tamborski.
I've got you on something else.
Oh, yeah, okay, so great. So, yeah, I wasn't really expecting to speak to this. I'm Karen Tamborski, I work at Petaluma High School. I'm a special ed class teacher. I've been there over 16 years. And when I heard the subject of textbooks, it went right to the heart. I embrace technology to some degree, as our speaker just said. I have a lot of problems with Chromebooks, honestly. I think that we're not really possibly being forward-thinking and looking at the ergonomic implications of these little flat keyboards, and then the teachers that are having to possibly bend over and do this stuff when they're working with the students. It's already been quite an experience, and I'm exploring other options to work with the Chromebooks, keyboard-wise and things like that. Textbook works every time. Technology often does not. We spend much of our day fixing the glitches instead of teaching the subject matter. In the end, we end up teaching patience, how to be patient, how to be diligent, how to keep running with the ball. Okay, anyway, that being said, students appreciate as well their books as well as their technology. They have their technology, but when you can see a kid walking around the campus holding on to that book for dear life because they love what they're doing, it's an important tool. It builds a lot of self-esteem. I've always struggled with trying to get funding for curricular activities. I do work in special education. I do understand that it encroaches in on regular education. But when I'm talking about programs such as Read 180 or something that has a technological component and is able to serve students in a variety of settings with a variety of needs, we need to have the textbook materials now because it's a dual component. And to go off and often have to write a grant all the time for $10,000 to go find it for this program is a real struggle. Not to mention the glitches that we do have with the computer programs themselves. It just goes on and on throughout the day. So I'm an advocate for both, but not rushing into a new thing until we really understand the full implications of what we're all going to have to experience when we start using this technology, and then make sure that it is up and running from the get-go, because it really is a frustrating situation, and it's happened a lot this year. But anyway, I just thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's textbooks. So that's all of my speaker cards on textbooks.
Just fill those up for you.
These right here, these are all mine. Right? Right? Okay. Keep going with you. Molly. I believe it was Bear?
Spain. Molly Bain, Spain.
I just wanted to share the experience of a teacher with just Chromebooks for textbooks. Sorry, I get a little emotional, but we were doing a new program, and we were given Chromebooks instead of textbooks. And my grades are due tomorrow, and I still have students who don't have access to the book. In 5 weeks, 6 weeks almost. Either the server's down, or they live in an area where they don't get the Wi-Fi doesn't work because of AT&T, or their password doesn't work, or okay. So that's one thing. Then we're using them during class. Well, we're using a program that requires them to talk to each other. It's kind of hard to do when you have a Chromebook in front of your face. What else? Servers go down during school. We have no backup. We finally got the Blackboard Masters. We're making copies of the chapters. It's ridiculous. Kids want to borrow them to take them home and do their homework. We're using a new program that we're learning, and we're having to deal with all this technology. That's not what we want to do. We want to learn the new program. We want to teach Common Core. We don't want to deal with broken Chromebooks and servers being down, or the little spinny thing that Karen was talking about. That's it. I just want to share, I think we're the only, the 8th grade teachers are the only ones who have no textbooks. I don't know if anybody else in the district is in that position. It's hard. Thank you.
Nicole.
Hi, my name is Nicole Ginelli, and I'm going to speak from a parent perspective. I have a daughter who's a 9th grader at Casa Grande. She was a straight A student at Kenilworth, won the Team Pride Award. She is struggling right now in her Spanish class. It is heartbreaking to me because she does not have a textbook. Today, she is spending her time in class copying down the textbook that can only stay in class and is shared one textbook with 3 kids. She has to copy down the page. That's what she spends her hour and a half doing in that class. Literally copying down the pages to take it home and then study. She is struggling. She needs a textbook. All those kids need textbooks today, now. The ones that they do have graffiti in them, have pictures of obscene objects in them. They're horrible. So I'm just really passionate about this subject. I'm frustrated. I feel that I don't want my kid to suffer, and she's suffering now. That's all I have to say.
Denise Reyes.
Hi, I'm Denise Reyes. I've been teaching in the district for 18 years, and I teach 4th grade. I have an 8th grader at Petaluma Junior High and a 5th grader at Grant. And I don't have anything written down because I'm just feeling the need to speak right now. So, one thing that I was frustrated with was that, first of all, the letter that we saw about this meeting it just said about textbooks. And so we didn't know if it meant going to all ebooks or if it meant paper textbooks, or it was very vague. So I may be speaking, looking ahead, but it sounds like other people are speaking about the ebook kind of transition also, where as a teacher, a lot of times I can't even get into my teacher book. So that can be a challenge when you're trying to find things online, and like my password still doesn't work for the social studies book. So that's not only a challenge for students, which is a problem, but it's also a challenge for the teachers as well when we have those kinds of technical glitches. On another band, my 8th grade son is a lover of books. And when I look ahead to, I'm hoping that you're not planning on getting rid of books altogether. I mean, I don't know. So I'm just hoping that you're not, because the love of books comes from holding a book in your hand and turning the pages and the smell of it, and all those good things about having a book and curling up in a corner. And there are kids who can do that with a device in their hand. But I mean, really, but there's something to be said for having the actual book. When I asked my son how he would feel about having ebooks, because we don't have any Kindles or anything in our house, he was mortified about losing books. He goes, "Are they going to take our books away?" That he was really upset. And I, not personally having ever used a Kindle, I know I'm in the dark ages, but having not used a Kindle, I don't know about, can you say, go to page 28 and it goes to page 28, or do you get to hit the screen 28 times to get there? I don't really know, but that kind of thing really concerns me. So in the interest of the students who potentially down the road might lose the books that they hold dear, I'm hoping that you'll not take all books away. Thank you.
And our last speaker is Melissa McCarron.
Hi, I'm Melissa McGarry. I'm a teacher at San Antonio High School, English, and I have 2 children at McNear. And I wasn't prepared, but I heard a couple things that I wanted to respond to. I have a kindergartner and a 2nd grader, and I do not want them on devices all the time in the classroom. One-to-one, I think, is too much. It's a waste of money. We don't need one-to-one. We need labs, we need good labs, we need trained people in those labs helping our kids learn how to use devices. I know at my high school I have students who still don't know how to cut and paste. There are students out there that have limited technology and they need help, they need to be in labs, but they need to be using one-to-one later. My 2nd grader is still switching his B's and D's. He needs to be writing on paper for the majority of the day. I do not want him on an iPad all day. I am preventing that at home my best. I don't want to struggle with worrying about what's in the classroom, that he has a device in his hand babysitting him. I do not like that idea at all. As a high school English teacher, and I heard Kim say that elementary school teachers, they teach all these subjects. They need this curriculum. I have 4 grades of English textbooks sitting in my cupboards at school. I use them twice a year. I do not touch those textbooks any other time. It is a huge waste of money. I develop my own curriculum to suit my students' needs. So what I believe needs to be done is ask the teachers what they need. I don't need somebody just buying me stuff and throwing it at me. Ask me what I need, because the last thing you want to do is buy me 100 more textbooks that are going to sit on my shelves. Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is our one, excuse me?
I put my name in the general, but this is what the moment that I was hoping to speak.
The general.
I put my yellow card in that corner earlier.
Okay. Hang on a second.
Yeah, Nathan Whiteman.
Okay. So here, this is, hang on, so I got something in front of me. So, the way that we do this is, when we have a topic, I ask for the speaker cards, and then we cut off the speaker cards when I ask for the last call for the speaker cards, okay? Because otherwise they just kind of come in and come in. So y'all need to make a decision. I'd love to have you talk, but you got to give me a speaker card, and then afterwards we're closing off comment on it. So I got one after the bell. I'll take that one this time. And then you, sir, have something up here already that you'd like
I was
to.
up there before the meeting was even.
Okay, so let me find you. And in the meantime, I'm gonna have to get glasses one of these days. Michaela, is that? Did I say that correctly? This is Nathan.
Hi there. My name is Michaela Shannon. I'm a student at Petaluma High School. I have 2 twin brothers that are in grant school right now, and I am very fortunate to actually have a set of textbooks. For my English classes, we have never used our textbooks, unfortunately. We were given an entire textbook at the beginning of the year, and maybe once did I use it in my freshman year. However, I do have to say that my textbooks have been like my hero my entire school career. I cannot live without my textbooks, because as soon as we start class and we have to use those thinking Chromebooks, they never work. I can't stand them. Do you know how long it takes to sit there and learn a lesson and to have them say, okay, well, this is how it works. And if it doesn't happen that way, there's always problems with it, then we have to sit there and wait for everybody to catch up and make sure that everybody's on the right page, because if not, then we can't go anywhere with the lesson. It takes too long to actually sit there and understand it all. I prefer that we actually have the textbooks and that we learn from them. Yes, some of the textbooks may be outdated, but I think that it'd be more beneficial to ask the teachers, do you actually use your textbooks? If you use your textbooks, then they should be continued to be used. If they are outdated, let the teachers tell you. These textbooks have information that is completely outdated to the students and irrelevant. In my senior English class right now, we're taught a new curriculum that I actually really like, because the ERWC is really relevant to what we're actually learning. And yes, we may not be using textbooks, but we're learning articles. And we're actually getting into stuff that is relevant to nowadays, and I really appreciate that. So I feel that it really depends on the teacher and the student ratio. And yeah, it may be nice to have technology for each student, but I mean, my brothers come home from school and I can't even sit down and tell them this is how you work the Google Docs or the Google Chrome. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. My brothers come home every single day with all electronic homework, and I can't help them with it. It's so frustrating for me to learn that that's what they're learning now. It's not a textbook. They can't even bring home a physical piece of book and actually read from it and tell me what it means. It's all on the computer, and it's so frustrating for me. Thank you.
My name is Nathan Ladcap. I'm a father here in Petaluma of a 2-year-old who, as much as I hate to admit, will be in school age in 4 years. And I'm also the librarian at Casa Grande High School. So I'm up here for a couple reasons. The first reason is that I think this the topic that we're talking about tonight, the implementation of one-to-one devices and technology as far as textbook goes, is a huge project. I think that there are good people working on it. One of them, Lori Dean, I think, if there are medals given out for effort, she deserves 10 of them. But I also think that that the solution is in this room, with the people that spoke, with the students that are in this room. There are ideas in this district, and I think it's obviously one of the nicest things about this town. Any realtor will tell you that the schools are a selling point. And I think what teachers and students want is to be able to participate in the decisions that are being made as far as the technology that's being given to them and the lesson plans that are, or the curriculum that's being given to them. I know a teacher was up here earlier saying that it's hard and not necessarily a teacher's job to develop curriculum. And as a librarian, I just want to say that there's 7 librarians in the county, and thanks to Petalumans, 4 of those librarians are here in Petaluma, thanks to Measure C. And the librarians are there to help develop curriculum and are there to help facilitate this transition. I wanted to say, as a librarian, I also have to assign reading, of course. So it's a very short article on the topic that we're talking about, and I think it's very pertinent to what we're talking about. So I guess in that sense, I just wanted to communicate to the board that the solution is in this room, the people standing before you. And finally, I just want to end on one of those librarians in this district, Connie Williams, was appointed to the California Library Services Board by Governor Brown this past week. And so we have very highly qualified professionals that can help us make these decisions for what will help our students learn best, what will help my daughter, when she enters this school district, have the lessons and the teachers and the technology that she needs to be successful in the 21st century. And I thank you for your time.
Very good. Is Connie here? Hey. She didn't know I was going to do moving to, that's the end of public hearing for textbooks. Moving to item G, approval of the minutes. I believe everybody is eligible to sign on the minutes. I didn't see any changes.
Wait. Can you amend that, there wasn't, I didn't want anyone to read it and think there was a Common Core meeting that someone missed. I had a meeting with Jane because a parent had issues and questions. And so Jane met with us to talk about Common Core. It just, the minutes,
Okay,
the minutes kind of read like there was a Common Core meeting,
okay.
a non-agendized Common Core meeting. And that wasn't it, it was a meeting with me and Jane and the parent,
Okay.
and Mike. Thank you.
Can I get a motion on that?
So
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, I was looking at that.
Let's move on. Let's do a little housekeeping here real quick. I forgot to remind you at the front side, if you remember to turn your phones off, I appreciate that. I'll put my vibrate, please. And then we're going to do Students of the Month next. I'll ask the student reps to come up and introduce their students and tell us about them. And then after that, we will do a quick break for anybody who needs to go home to do homework or something better than this. All right? So just so everybody knows the logistics of what's going on. Okay, so I shall come up and let's start with Kenilworth Junior. Are we doing just the seniors or the high school? Or we have all four? Let's start with Kenilworth, please.
Hello, my name is Sue, and I'm in leadership at Kenilworth. Kenilworth Junior High is proud to introduce the September Student of the Month, Axel Prowlis.
So this is how this works. You turn around right there. That's the camera. It's going to be very uncomfortable, okay?
Axel has been chosen Student of the Month.
Stay right the whole time, right there. There you go. Thank you. Go ahead.
Axel has been chosen Student of the Month by his team of teachers because of his academic excellence and his exemplary citizenship. As a 4.0 student at Kenilworth, Axel has been described by his teachers as hardworking, insightful, well-mannered, and possessing a great sense of humor. Axel is also a contributing member of Kenilworth Television, having recently anchored an episode of our morning program. Mr. Quintua says Axel is a wonderful student who is always willing to share his answers and thoughts. Who could ask for more? Not only is Axel a fantastic student and gentleman at Kenilworth, but outside of school he takes classes through Stanford University's online high school. Axel was accepted into Stanford University's high school after a rigorous process of acceptance, which included school work samples, a written exam, and a personal interview. Axel considers his acceptance and success in the Stanford Online High School as one of his greatest accomplishments. When Axel is not working hard at school, he enjoys spending time with his family, watching movies, and playing video games, especially FIFA soccer. In the future, Axel hopes to be accepted into either Stanford or Harvard University, where he plans on pursuing a degree with career in journalism. Axel's mother had this to add. Axel is not only a very good student, he is honest, sweet, kind, and sensitive. He cares about people and we are very proud of Axel. Congratulations, Axel.
Opportunity to recognize that Axel's accomplishments are not just his own, but the product of the people around him that support him. And so if we could have you all stand, we could acknowledge you and thank you.
Ruth Mangadon. Samvita was chosen Student of the Month by her team of teachers because of her outstanding academic performance, her positive classroom contributions, and her overall comportment. Samvita's teachers described her work as exceptional and characterized Samvita as an asset to the class. Mrs. Bradley said Samvita's work in English class is exemplary. She develops her ideas, explains her opinions, and backs them up with solid evidence. Samvita is a hard-working, respectful student. While Samvita maintains a 4.0 grade point average at Kenilworth, she is also an accomplished tennis player, artist, and musician. In 2013, Samvita made it all the way to the finals of the Petaluma Valley Athletic Club's tennis tournament. In fifth grade, Samvita had one of her drawings chosen to be used in Sonoma County's water conservation calendar. Samvita also channels her artistic ability into music, playing both the clarinet and the flute. In the future, Samvita hopes to use her art portfolio to earn a scholarship into Stanford University. Samvita's father added, Samvita works very hard. She's a perfectionist, she is patient, and she puts her best effort into all of her endeavors. We are very proud of her. Congratulations, Samvita.
Samvita's family and friends. How about Petaluma Junior High?
Hi, I'm Tessa Irwin, president of Petaluma Juniors ASB. Anton Horvath.
Just what you know.
Anton Horvath has been chosen as the September Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. A well-poised, dedicated, and intelligent young man, Anton Horvath has been chosen as the September Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. Teachers state Anton is a highly conscientious, motivated, and bright student. Students look up to him as he is a self-starter and fully engaged in learning. He is well-liked and respected by peers and adults and is always willing to help others. Anton has consistently earned a 4.0 grade point average while taking advanced classes. As a result, he has been on the honor roll and earned the principal's Renaissance and Gold. Anton is well-rounded with a variety of interests. He plays basketball at the Girls and Boys Club for recreation. He comes from a close-knit family and enjoys going to church with them on Saturday evenings. He is an active member of the Math Olympiads Club, as it is fun for him to solve complex math problems with his classmates and compete with teams from other schools. At home, Anton enjoys studying old coins and doing extensive research on his collection. He has good close friends and enjoys playing basketball, hanging out, and having fun. He also loves to read adventure books and play video games. Anton is a deeply happy person and his smile warms those who meet him. Anton's future goals include taking advanced placement classes in high school and maintaining a 4.0 grade point average throughout his school years. He plans on studying engineering at a college nearby to stay close to his family. Anton's parents state, as Anton's parents, we are very proud of him for all his accomplishments in and out of the classroom. He is a wonderful son and an even better person. Congratulations, Anton Horvath.
Nicolette Starkey has been chosen as September Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. An awesome person and exceptional student, Nicolette Starkey has been chosen as the September Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. Earning a 4.0 being accelerated classes, Nicolette has been on the honor roll and earned the Principal's Gold and Renaissance Award. Teachers state Nicolette is a joy to have in class. She takes learning seriously, is self-motivated, intelligent, diligent, and conscientious. Nicolette has a positive outlook and helps to create a sense of cooperation amongst her peers. She offers great insight during classroom discussions and humbly jumps in to help those around her. Nicolette is highly motivated, determined, and competent in all areas. Her jubilant, sweet, and caring personality is endearing. Her peers look up to her, and she is well-liked and respected by all. Nicolette is involved in numerous extracurricular activities with an emphasis on sports. Last year, Nicolette was on the Petaluma High School's pennant-winning 7th grade girl basketball and track team. An excellent athlete, Nicolette was chosen again to play basketball this year at PJHS on the 8th grade team. In the community, Nicolette plays competitively for United Soccer Petaluma, winning the regional, President's Cup, quarterfinals, and state cup championships. She also plays recreational softball in the spring. Last year, she was honored as one of the all-star players and is joining a minor league this year. In addition, Nicolette is actively involved in the teen religious group at St. Vincent's de Paul. She also enjoys watching movies and swimming at the Petaluma Golf Country Club with her friends. Nicolette likes to create art projects as well. Nicolette's future goal includes maintaining a 4.0 grade point average throughout her school years. She would like to play varsity soccer in high school and stay active in community sports. Nicolette is interested in attending a quality university to become a pediatrician as she enjoys helping people and loves little kids. Nicolette's parents state, "We could not be more proud of our very hardworking daughter, Nicolette. She is responsible, reliable, and motivated to do well, and we love it." Congratulations, Nicolette Starkey.
Nicolette, do you have some friends and family here with that?
Oh, yeah. They're in the back corner.
And right here too. Thank you. All right, how about Casa Grande? Who's here from the big house?
Hi, my name is Emma Bryan, and I'm ASC president at Casa Grande High School.
I'm obviously new, I'm the treasurer.
This month, our first student of the month from Casa Grande for September 2014 is Fayed Ali. Fayed is a Palestinian Arab American and is fluent in both English and Arabic. Fayed hopes to attend a four-year university to pursue a degree in engineering. His current interest is in mechanical engineering. It is no surprise then that his favorite subjects are the maths and sciences, in which he is mind blown on a daily basis. Fayed is the co-founder and co-president of the Casa Grande Computer Science Club and the vice president of the UNICEF Club. When he's not doing schoolwork, which is extremely rare, Fayed enjoys keeping up to date with current affairs, watching comedy shows, and re-examining Einstein's theory of relativity.
Fayed, do you have some family here?
The next student of the month is Jeanette Chin, who is not able to join us tonight, so we want to her bios.
Vote around the back and see what's up there. Perfect. Okay. Just to double check. Really? Petaluma High School. Have a little.
That's all right.
Wait till I get the mic.
Hi, I'm Jenna Teagarden. I am PHS's ASB co-vice president. First off, we have Micah Lesh.
He consistently impresses teachers, school staff, indeed all adults he meets, with his maturity, work ethic, integrity, sincerity, and his ability to communicate his ideas and questions with passion. PHS administrators, teachers, librarians, and counselors know him to be a student who follows through on his commitments and who takes initiative to make meaningful contributions to the school community. As a leader, Micah believes strongly in his role as a mentor for young students in, as he frequently expresses, his goal to establish leadership in others. In addition to his many responsibilities as a leader at school, Micah has worked with other student leaders across the nation. Last spring, Micah was selected to represent PHS as the National Student Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C., where he participated in a week of conferences, lectures, and activities, which helped him to hone his leadership abilities and create a vision for his future. Micah has been a member of 4 school band ensembles for all 4 years of high school: marching band, wind ensemble, varsity jazz, jazz combo, and captain of drumline. This year, he is serving as student president of the Petaluma High School Band. His duties in this role include reporting to the PHS Music Boosters Board, participating in board decisions, leading the student performance under Mr. Eveland, and coordinating student fundraisers and outreach for the band. In addition, Michael has been captain of the PHS drumline for 3 years. When Micah joined drumline as a freshman, it was a small extracurricular group of musicians. Over the last 3 years, Micah has been instrumental in building drumline into a competitive percussion ensemble that has won a number of awards at regional competitions in the Northern California Band Association competitive circuit. Drumline was virtually unknown on campus 3 years ago. Currently, it's a fixture on campus that is routinely asked to perform at football games, rallies, and band concerts. Last year, Michael was profiled in a feature article on drumline in the PHS school newspaper. Michael was also interviewed by local icon Petaluma Pete in a series of videos articles known as Petaluma Positive, which highlighted his leadership and musical capabilities. Micah is currently in his 2nd year as co-president of the PHS Gay Straight Alliance, or GSA. The GSA's mission is not only to provide students with an exclusive, accepting environment in club meetings, but more significantly to mobilize its members with various projects of activism, aiming to make the Petaluma High School campus and small-town community a safe atmosphere for individuals of any gender or sexual orientation. When Micah joined GSA during his freshman year, it was a small club of a few members. In his sophomore year, Micah served as the group's outreach coordinator and was immediately instrumental in expanding membership to nearly 40 students. GSA currently has a roster of 130 members, with an average attendance at weekly meetings of 30 to 50 students. The PHS GSA is now the largest club at PHS and has the largest members among the 40 GSAs in the 4-county area. The first meeting this semester was attended by 55 students, 40 of whom were freshmen. As co-president, Micah leads a 2nd weekly meeting of the GSA cabinet, a group of students who serve as the leaders and outreach coordinators to plan the meetings as well as the group projects, in addition to the weekly meetings for the membership at large. For each club meeting, he organizes an activity, discussion, projects, and most importantly, creates a welcoming, safe space and community for all students who choose to attend. Micah is a natural-born leader who works consistently at becoming an even stronger leader and role model who, in the future, will continue to have a profound impact on the lives of those around him, just as he has done at Petaluma High School. Congratulations on all your achievements, Micah. Okay, next we have Maddie Thomas. All right, well, unfortunately we don't have a paper for Maddie, but luckily I've known her since 2nd grade, so I think I know a little bit about her. Maddie is ASB president at Petaluma High. She's been 3 years of class president, which is the first time ever in Petaluma High history. So that was pretty exciting. She has several AP and honors classes, and she was the first Petaluma High student to take psychology as a sophomore, so that was a big deal.
That is not on that paper.
I'm bragging about you, sorry. Okay, so she is a 4-year varsity tennis player, 2-time SCL singles champion, and 2-time SCL player of the year. She also has 4 years of varsity badminton, which she likes a lot. For community involvement, she was an elementary school cross guard every morning at 7 a.m. So She did a good job of keeping students. She also helped with all of the grant school plays, and she babysits and tutors on the side every week. Maddie, as a person, is probably one of the best people I have ever met, if I'm being honest. Everyone knows her at school. Like, you can walk through the hallways and she will literally wave to everyone. Like, she knows every single person. She always has a smile on her face, and she always knows like the right things to say to people. And she's just always been very nice to everyone she meets, which is like, you don't find that very often in a lot of people. She likes to thank her biggest supporters, her parents Mike and Kim and brother Ben, for their endless support, in addition to her teachers, counselors, administrators, and other numerous mentors. So, congrats, Maddie.
Oh, a nice way to start a meeting, huh? Yeah. Hey, if I could get the 7 of you to stand up for just a second, students of the month, would you mind? First of all, very proud of you. Thank you very much for all your hard work. I'd like you to look around you really quickly. You'll probably see some familiar faces. There's a whole bunch of people in this room that have worked very hard to help you work very hard to get where you're at. And I'd like you to thank them. You're going to go on the Wall of Fame over here, which is a pretty impressive place to be. Comes with all kinds of perks that I'll tell you about later in private, because nobody else can. All right? But I'm telling you, they're really good. Thank you very much, Well, I'm very proud of you. And for those of us that have a very small part to do with your success, and those out here that have a whole lot more to do with your success, I just want to tell you that your achievements buoy us and help us get through the day. And it's because of your achievements and the things that you do, I think it makes getting up in the morning in the dark at 6:30 to go to work a lot easier for a whole lot of people. So thank you for that. Okay, as promised, I suspect that there might be 1 or possibly 2 people who would like to leave this meeting early to go home and do homework or do something else that they deem more worthy, which I can't imagine what that might be. So, I'll take 120 seconds. So we've got plenty of room up here in the front if anybody would like to grab a seat. All back. Log back in real quick. 1 second, Jack. Okay.
Ready?
Yes, please.
Hi, everybody. Hold on, I've got to do one little thing here, because I obviously did not click the right button. Okay.
about board goals for 2014 and 15. This is going to be quick because you've heard a lot about the board goals already for 2014 and 15 because they are outlined in the LCAP. I guess the big message that I want to give to all of us tonight is that accountability is back. And it is back in terms of LCAP. And what we are expected to do is very clearly spelled out and has been approved by the County Office of Education. So that is those are our walking orders.
I'm sorry, but you only have 7 minutes of battery left, so you said it was going to take a little longer.
Exactly, I'm hoping it won't. So our walking orders are future up Petaluma and get ready for Common Core and full implementation of Common Core. Within our LCAP, we've got several overarching goals, and I'm going to walk through those first, and then the underarching, the objectives that lay underneath those. I am not going to talk about the objectives up there. I am actually going to talk about how we got to those objectives so that you can understand the process that the whole team took. And I'm going to talk about those off of here because I can't get that to turn the presenter notes off. So another technological glitch. So our first overarching goal is learning environments that meet 21st century skills. And you can see that when we're talking about that 21st century standards, we're talking about upgrading all of our learning environments. When we talk about the learning environments, we're not just talking about the physical space or the furniture in the room.
Don't trip over it.
I will.
You're making me nervous.
Okay, got it. I'm moving this way. And the furniture in the room. We're talking about the teachers and the teachers being fully credentialed. We're talking about all of the resources being aligned to Common Core and that everybody has all the resources that are necessary. In California this year, we are looking at mathematics, and our teachers are actually piloting some mathematics materials. We'll be focusing on mathematics, and then California will roll out the next adoptions and material resources over the course of the next 6 years. Okay? Just like we've always done, what's different now in the adoption of materials and instructional resources is that phrase right there, instructional resources. We are no longer required to adopt off of a California approved list. We are no longer required to adopt a single textbook, but we can adopt a variety of resources that are selected by a majority of teachers on committees, selected by a majority of teachers. And that is the law in the state of California, and that's how materials are adopted. It continues to be. We're looking at about 10% of kids having one-to-one devices, that classrooms are reconfigured, and that means that we're looking at learning spaces and the furniture within those learning spaces. And then we're also looking at, of course, the facilities being maintained and in good condition. We have a really good field record of that, and really work hard at maintaining our facilities. They look great, and they're in good shape. Our second goal is classroom instruction is aligned to 21st century teaching and learning, and of course that has to do with Common Core aligned instruction. Right now, the last time we took the CST, 47% of our students were proficient. We know that this year we're going to be taking Smarter Balanced assessment for real for the very first time. And our committee has set a goal of about 60% of our kids being proficient or above in both math and English language arts. That is a very ambitious goal. We'll see how we go. See what happens. We are implementing a 4-year plan for all high school students beginning this year. And some schools have already started talking about, I think it was Kenilworth, talking about a 10-year plan and really looking at helping kids to look forward and to make plans to what they want to do with their futures, just like we heard the kids talking about tonight. We have right now about 33% of our kids meet A through G requirements, and our committee has set around 40% of kids meeting A through G. All of these different goals are focused on all students. When it says all students, that means these goals will be disaggregated by our significant subgroups. So ELL, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and foster youth will disaggregate, and the goals will remain the same for those kids. That 60, 100%, the 40%. We'll be looking for those kinds of goals with every single subgroup and with all students across the district. Right now, their achievement in these various goals does not reach the level of all students, and their achievement is lower. So we do have a pretty big learning gap that is the whole focus here, is closing that gap, just as we've been working on for the last 14 years with No Child Left Behind. We're looking to increase our target subgroups. Oh, great. We're looking to increase our target subgroups participation in all classes, which means AP, EAP, the assessments that kind of get them ready to go to college, the classes that get them ready to go to college, CTE, and giving them a variety of experiences. We're looking at making sure that all of our schools have interventions so that all students have the opportunity to reach mastery on the Common Core standards. That 80% of EL students being redesignated in 6 years. Right now, around 82% of our EL kids are long-term English learners, which means they have been in our system for 6 years or more, and they have not been redesignated. And then the continued work on getting core and CTE classes linked together and increasing that access for all kids. Support for social-emotional health. This is a real area of strength for us, and we have spent a lot of time really focusing on helping our kids and getting mental health counselors into our school and providing these kinds of supports so that we're not just talking about the academic strength of the student, but we're also supporting them social-emotionally. Because it's a two-pronged thing that we're talking about when we talk about student success. We've got to have them healthy and ready to go, and that includes that if there are issues that they're having, that we're addressing them. So these are funny, CHKS means California Healthy Kids Survey. We have to use that measure. It's the measure that has been designated by the state in LCAP. Our scores are extremely high on LCAP, on the California Healthy Kids Survey. Our kids are saying very strongly that they have strong adult relationships and that they feel a connection to school. Our Latino students, which is called out specifically on the California Healthy Kids Survey, actually have higher scores than all students on these particular surveys. So we're doing a really good job of including and supporting students. You can see our dropout rates, our expulsion rates, and our suspension rates are extremely good. Very good. Our dropout rate is less than 6%. Our expulsion rates are less than 0.06, and our suspension rates are less than 6%, 6.1. So that's why you see those tiny little decreases, because they're already so good. It's going to be really tough to move those numbers. Okay? Finally, parents are the key. And we want our parents included, and we want them included early and often. So we want them using the parent portal, and I think we may have already met that 70% of parents signed into the portal. We're going to begin college and career events earlier, beginning in the 7th grade, and helping kids get ready for junior high and high school as early as 4th grade. The committee felt very strongly that we needed to get the kids ready earlier and to get the parents involved in looking at students' futures at an earlier time. We have a full complement of early childhood programs that you guys have heard about a little bit. We are going to continue those programs called Pasitos and Avance. They both take place at McKinley and McDowell schools, and they are fully enrolled, and we will continue to fully enroll them. Both programs are funded by the First Five Commission of Sonoma County. And then parents and community members will continue their involvement in the district school advisory councils and the district leadership team. That's a quick overview, and it doesn't encompass every single goal that's in the LCAP, but it gives you a really good overview of where the committee was going and where we have to focus our work this year. Questions?
But hey, I just want to say, if there's anybody who would like to make comment on this particular item, draw a card, bring it up, prompt it. So I got 2 people.
You have a card for me for the previous topic that refers to this as well. You want another card? It'll be the same comment because it has to do with your one-to-one learning.
Not you. All right. So I'm sorry. I saw 1, 2. Who do we have? 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right. Those are the 3 people speaking on this. 4. Okay, there we go. So, questions? I just want to get that started before we start up here, so we get back here so we get efficient.
Thank you, Jane. It sort of ties into the textbook conversation.
Sure.
As far as adoption and the materials, something about over the next 6 years,
Over the course of the next 6 years, we will replace all of our instructional materials. Our instructional materials are from 2007. 2007 and before. And so we are going to need to be replacing our instructional materials. We have been carefully squirreling away money so that we will be able to do full adoptions of instructional materials. As you know, is extremely expensive to do that. So yes, math is up on the plate for this year. We are working really hard at secondary at piloting and finding materials. We actually are investigating 2 more sets of materials from Chicago right now. So, and our teachers will be taking a look at them in a couple of weeks.
and is it all online materials, or are we looking at?
It's a variety of materials that we're looking at. Most publishers at this point are publishing online. Some are publishing both print and online, but it's kind of a mix at this point in time.
And how many teachers sit on the committee?
The committees are, depending on the grade levels, so K6, the math committee, the K6 math committee has not started looking at materials yet. That will start probably second semester. The 7-8 math committee has already begun to look at materials, and there are approximately 15 people on that committee with representatives from each school.
15 teachers.
15 teachers.
And on the K6?
K6, there will be, the K6 math committee has probably around 15 people, also maybe 20. There are 2 people from each elementary school, so that's 14 right there. And then a couple of extras sprinkled in. So it's probably between 15 and 20 teachers. And then there's some administrative and that kind of thing. Okay?
So we heard Ms. Bain speak to her 8th grade math program that...
They are piloting that math program. So
And it
it's,
doesn't sound like they've had great success so far.
we haven't that far enough into it to know yet. We've only been into it 6 weeks, and we've had a lot of glitches with the internet. Kenilworth has already gotten, we have also gotten some paper textbooks for the teachers' use and for the kids who cannot get internet if they live way out in the boonies. So there's, the Kenilworth already has them, and they are going to be delivered either tomorrow or, well, let's say by the end of the week for Petaluma Junior High. The teachers were asking for them last week, so I was able to get that arranged for them. And then they also have all the blackline masters in case they want to run off certain pages or something like that. They have blackline masters that they can use of the books, in addition to the ebook.
So for 8th graders, it's just, I mean, it's taken 6 weeks to get them online, and it could take another. Do we have anything in the meantime, I guess? I mean, it sounds like the black line, I mean, can they make copies and give it to every student if they're so inclined?
Yep, if they wanted to. And the kids have had the ebooks the entire time. They've had the textbook from the first day of school. The Chromebooks. The second week of school.
Any other questions up here? Okay. I have 4 speaker cards. So I will remind you that we're speaking about, on this particular item, it's board goals as presented. So I will start with Mr. McGann.
Thank you very much. I actually attended a couple of the programs at the Petaluma City School. We were part of the pre-K program for a short while. That was a very positive experience for us. And the kindergarten program, however, was not. And we had to remove my daughter because of the safety of the classroom. There was not a safe environment in the classroom, and that is why we had to remove ourselves from the school. What I want to address are the board goals and what does the 21st century education goals and what relationship it has to the Common Core. And it's important that we all understand some of the background behind this so that we can plan best for our children going forward on how we want to best educate them. The Common Core really comes from a business relationship of some private companies that have decided to usurp control of the curriculum from the individual states in order to get a common standard so we could essentially lower the academic standards of all of our schools. They are doing this in order to be able to increase test scores. That's the strategy behind the Common Core. The problem is not every single state has done it. How did they get so many to participate? Maybe 45 out of the 50. They did it by taking an incentive, a financial incentive to all of the school districts. It was race to the top. It was before there was Common Core. And the agreement was, if you took all this money for race to the top, you would support Common Core. So many of the states are following through with that commitment in order to support Common Core. The problem really comes down to, if you decide that this is not appropriate for your state, what happens? And now that Georgia, for example, is pulling out, they're being forced to give back $10, $15 million that they received as a down payment. Common Core has some things in it that are communicated that just are not true to the program. Number 1, 21st century skills in education requires wireless communications. That is not part of Common Core at all. When they talk about one-to-one device, there is no requirement that these things communicate wirelessly. In fact, it is much safer to configure the classroom for 21st century to turn off all of the wireless routers and have them connect safely through cords. The good news, and I shared this with the board both in June and this week, is that every single device they've purchased can be connected safely via wires to the internet. That includes the iPads. That includes the Chromebooks. That includes the laptops. But in order to do that, they have to spend a little bit of money that they haven't been willing to spend. They need a $12 adapter. That's what they need in order to make these Chromebooks safe for students, so when they read the ebooks, that is the only way they're going to be able to do their work, they're not constantly irradiated by the Wi-Fi signal coming off of that antenna that people don't remind themselves to turn off. It is a continuous exposure which damages your children's brains, damages your children's blood, damages your children's cellular membranes. This is well documented in over 20,000 studies since 1927, shared with this district for over a year and a half now. So the good news I heard about was that it was accountability is back. I heard her say that is the law of the state of California, that we have to follow CHKS because it's state mandated. We have another state law right on the books, and that is Education Code that says specifically this: it is illegal to place a carcinogen into K through 6 student classrooms when that carcinogen is defined that way by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. That is the definitive body in the Education Code. What was dropped on that list in 2011 was Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is on the list of banned substances for all of our classrooms. They've known about this since last spring. Where's the accountability? You have all taken an oath to serve. Let me read that oath. I, Troy Sanderson, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Every one of you took that oath. Every one of you is ignoring the laws of the state of California when you put Wi-Fi into our classrooms in K through 6. They allow it to happen in 7 through 12, but you have to have all kinds of warnings if you want to follow the law. The law is very, very clear. It is section 32602 to 32605. Everyone can look it up and read it. They've had it for 6 months. Let's hope they follow the law as part of their goals. Thank you. Thank you.
Sandra Larson.
Sorry, I just had a couple of questions because I was a little surprised when I heard that we would be piloting textbooks. Is that something that's just come up, or first I've heard of it? The last time we were here, we were told we had the binder. So I was just confused by that and what the process will be for that. And math committee, are the grades even, and are there people who knew they would be looking at textbook or curriculum? Because I don't think that's been communicated to teachers.
So let me ask those questions.
So, math committee for 6A or K6 has not started looking at instructional resources yet. They've built their curriculum maps first, and that's kind of what we're doing across all of the grade levels is we're building curriculum maps. 712 has also built curriculum maps already, so that when we get to looking at instructional materials, we know better what we're looking at in terms of Common Core because of the new standards. So it takes some professional development to get people ready to begin to review resources. So we'll be looking at K6 resources after the new year, and we're looking at 712 resources now.
So K6 has developed. So K6 has developed curriculum maps that we have access to.
This is awkward, but it's.
I'm sorry.
No, I know, but this is awkward, but it's.
I'm just.
Yeah, you go. I understand.
Curriculum maps are in the.
You run it kind of loosey, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to get it backward with it. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Curriculum maps are in the front of every binder at every grade level.
And that's what we're to follow? Oh, that's what, okay. And my other concern I had when I hear someone, a district administrator, say they've been squirreling away money, I can understand why all ears perked up, and could that be explained? And I'll go sit down so I don't have to.
Steve, did you want to address that one since that's the final question?
It's the instructional materials money that we can't spend on anything else.
Yeah.
We can only spend instructional materials money on instructional materials. And so what little we have gotten over the course of the last couple of years, we've been kind of holding because we knew that we were going to need to buy a whole bunch of new materials.
And those are restricted lottery funds.
Yeah.
Now, there's no state instructional material funds as there had been prior to local control funding formula.
At this point now, as Steve said, all of the money, all instructional materials money is now in, there is no longer instructional materials money. It's all in LCFF.
Other than what you...
Other than restricted lottery.
Other than restricted lottery funds.
Another great example of local control.
Yeah.
Thank you. Connie, and again, congratulations.
Plan to say anything, but I'm Connie Williams, and I'm the teacher librarian at Petaluma High School. And I just want to spend 30 seconds to mention that the 4 C's that are mentioned in the P21, the 21st century skills that we talk about. We have creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. Most of that can happen face-to-face. Most of that can happen and should happen before we ever touch an electronic device. We need to make ourselves available to think seriously about the hardware lust that we can get pretty easily, given that Chromebooks look good, taking them home looks good, and doing all of those things look good. But the majority of our time in teaching Common Core, or any of the standards, the new history standards, the next gen science standards, the ISTE standards, every single set of standards that we have now require our students to learn how to evaluate information, to locate information, to collaborate with each other, and to critically think about it, and then to create with it. All of those things come from this brain and not from the tools that we use. The tools should only be tools, and they should not be a replacement for really good, solid curriculum. I am hoping that in our board goals, the goals sound good, but I don't see a lot of time, which is what we all need as teachers to make this happen. In our committees, we need to be talking these 4 C's seriously and working on them, and not necessarily being trained in how to work the tools all the time. So I would like us, and like to make sure that you folks are asking the questions about how the money is being spent on the tools, and make sure that we have enough money for the people who make sure that our kids critically think, create well, communicate, and collaborate. Thank you.
And Jeannie, I think this is you.
Yes. Hello, I'm Jeannie Preitzel. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at McDowell and the mother of a 5th grader at McKinley. I just wanted to...
Please stand
I'm here, I want to address what came up in regard to the plan and the goals regarding English language learners. I was an ELERT for many years. I have a B-clad. I worked for 1 year as the BRT in an emergency situation at McDowell while I was a teacher, which was absolutely impossible to do. And I'm looking at the numbers and the goals and the numbers of English learners in our district, which I'm sure you're well aware of. The bulk of them in elementary school are at McKinley and McDowell. And whereas the first year we had the BRTs, which replaced all of the instructional assistants, which by the way was not a shared decision. There was 1 full-time person at McKinley and 1 full-time person at McDowell. Granted, I was not able to do what I was able to do, needed to do to support my teachers. The following year, my full-time position was done away with, and Allison McKay, who was the McKinley BRT, had to take the role of both schools. So she's got, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure you can look, much more than any other assigned BRT. There's no way possible that she can support us in the capacity that we need her to. So if we're really seriously looking to redesignate all those kids in 6 years, which is in itself is a bit unrealistic, and research shows that that's not something that we should expect to have 80% redesignated in 6 years. But if we even want to get close to that, you really need to relook at the support you're offering those 2 schools, because she can't really help us.
We don't have the time to be writing more and more and more lessons and curriculum, which is what we've been trying to do. We can't do it. So her position needs to be increased. There should be a full-time person at each one of those schools if you really want to reach that goal.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to comments from the public. I have quite a few speaker cards. I will take this one last opportunity to ask anybody if they would like to turn in a speaker card. If you would do that now, so I can properly allocate time. Great. Okay, I also want to remind everybody, I know we've had this discussion before, but I think we see some new faces, so. Sorry, it's a public comment on public comment?
Yeah, that's the
I'm just
menu
trying to
item title, so.
Put it, no, what is your public comment regarding?
The teacher's contract.
Thank you. I'll get it right stack. Very good. So, public comment time. The Brown Act says that if we want to have a discussion and come to any kind of decision or sway a decision, we need to agendize an item. So in order to make sure that the public gets heard on things that aren't on the agenda, we have public comment. I just want to remind you that we have an opportunity to ask clarifying questions up here, and that's what you'll get from us if we have some. Excuse me. But you're not going to get comment from us. And I say that only because I know there's a lot of veterans in here that realize that, but every once in a while one or two people sneak in and they say, well, how come these adults at the front of the table don't say anything? And so I just want to remind you of that, okay? So we have 20 minutes per topic and up to 5 minutes per person. And depending on how many speaker cards I have, I'll split it accordingly, okay? I will ask you, I'll give you the 30-second kind of wave. So if you're kind of looking this direction, that helps. And so you know to wrap it up. All right, those are kind of our house rules, and I just appreciate everybody playing by. We'll start off with, let's see, Mr. Peter Costas. Are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Hi, my name is Peter Costas, and I'm on the board of Mentor Me in Petaluma, which is in your schools. I'm also a candidate for the Sonoma County Board of Education, Area 2, and 10 school districts, and Petaluma is one of those school districts, the largest school district. So I've been making a point of going to each school district and introducing myself. What I'm standing for, if elected to the county board, is early literacy. I really believe in that. Child development programs, early childhood development programs. We talked earlier, 21st century skills, critical. And implementation of the Common Core. And the local control that each district has in meeting those 8 straight priorities in writing their LCAP. When I look at your goals, I was very involved in the Career Pathways Trust Grant with the 6 counties and the 6 workforce investment boards and juvenile, the community colleges. And 2 of those goals that you have, integrating core curriculum with CTE courses is instrumental in that grant, which is going to serve the students at Petaluma High School and Casa Grande High School. And another one of your goals was increasing access to CTE courses. So that's in that grant. It's going to be playing out over 5 years. Just finally, 40 years in education, 17 years as a classroom teacher, 10 years as a school counselor, and the rest as an administrator overseeing juvenile court and community schools and student programs. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Mr. McGavin.
All right, so a continuation from the first comment. It's all about people following the law, right? At the end of the day, if you are driving around the streets of Petaluma and you got 3 stop signs, you got to stop at all 3. You don't get to pick which one you want to stop at versus another one. If you're not familiar with stop signs, you don't get the chance to blow right through them. No, you actually get a ticket for that. So that is what I'm trying to bring to all of you. That there is a law that exists in the state of California that you must follow. It does not require a citizen to sue you in order to follow. And that is the problem that we have, is you're taking oaths to follow the law, and you're not following the law. So how do we deal with people this incalcitrant, this intransient? We get an opportunity every year. It's election time. We get a chance to take a look and actually see what the record of the board is. Who's running again? Phoebe's running again. Mike's running again. Sherry's running again. What is their record? Do they follow the law? Do they actually do what they need to do to protect the health and safety of children in the Petaluma City School District? The answer is no, they do not. They break the law every day. And if you want to understand their record, it's been hidden on a website. That website is rfemf.com. There's an evidence page. You can look and you can see verbatim comments, every video, every vote, every time they blew off the information that was presented to them, every time they illegally cut off public comment, when they decided to arrest a public commenter for standing up for their rights. Because they don't want to face the truth. They want to avoid the hard questions. They want to satisfy the people above them saying, wireless, wireless, more wireless, wireless, gotta do it. It's part of the contract, gotta do it. They are not standing up for the health and safety of children, which is written into their board objectives. The answer is, you should not vote for any of these three people. We have two other candidates, both who have contacted me, both who are being responsible on this issue. If you would like to be more responsible on this issue, I'm going to give you every opportunity. There's a website up for every one of you. You'll find it very easily on Google. Search by their names. Because on those websites will also be their record. And their record will be known from all. It will be discussed in detail. And we can all make a decision. What are we doing? Why are we allowing and looking the other way while there's a bunch of law breaking going on right under our noses? And what is the consequence of that? We are damaging our own children. That is not debated. The Los Angeles Unified School District on this week wrote a letter in support of a teacher. And they say to her specifically, reviewing alternate accommodations, the committee approved your request to have the Wi-Fi turned off in your classroom during the 2014-2015 school year. As an alternate accommodation, the committee also approved a reassignment, if you need it, to a school without Wi-Fi. We don't have that choice in this district. Every single school has Wi-Fi. We chose one that didn't have Wi-Fi. They put it in 2 weeks before my daughter started. We asked very nicely, please turn it off. These kids aren't even using it. You don't understand what you're doing to these kids. You don't understand how much you're damaging. You don't understand how you're getting in the way of their own learning and brain development because you don't take the time to read the books I give you. You don't take the time to actually look at the videos that I send you. You don't actually take the time to meet with me independently. 2 meetings, 1, 2, 1 hour apiece. Thank you for that. Not a single response from the rest of you. You committed to a meeting and you canceled. You're all so scared of being sued. At the end of the day, you can't do a job when you're being scared. You have to follow the law. At the end of the day, you folks are not, and therefore you don't deserve to serve. I'm certainly hopeful we're going to get at least 2 of you off this board, and we're going to go after the rest of you. Mr. Bowman will have his own legal consequences to deal with for his irresponsible behavior last year in April, where he actually took a step to place a public comment speaker under misdemeanor arrest for standing up for their own rights to speak. And not even that person. He was defending the right of another person. This has got to stop. You have to be more responsible. You have to actually follow the law, and you have to actually care about the health and safety of children. Your record does not show that, and therefore we as voters need to educate ourselves, and we need to actually make a stand and say it is important to protect the health and safety of children. Thank you very much.
Mr. Emery.
Good evening, board and attendees. My name is Doug Emery, and I'm a third grade teacher proudly at Valley Vista School for 28 years. And last time I spoke before the board, it was a little bit more tense, should we say. And do I have 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
5.
Oh, thank you. And I did want to refer to the data that was, at that time, that was from 14 years ago, and before, actually, No Child Left Behind. And so as we future up, as we, so to speak, future up, I want you to think about those statistics that we were so proudly putting up on the wall with Dave Rose, and we were standing, it's been touted by the board members, actually, in the paper, you board members, thank you. And it's quite, we're all proud because we were those that participated over the years. And you saw the hands raised last time. So when you're thinking about futuring up and moving to these devices and all this business of change, if it ain't broke, why change it so much and fix it? Why move to kids from play and creative play and one-on-one concrete blocks to a one-on-one device where you have to go, you press it and it's hashtag Susie, you're it. that's the play we're moving to. Now, that does sound funny to me, and it is laughable, but with developmental education, I'm not just talking about pre-K and TK and every other K you got out there. We're talking about, kindergarten, first grade, these are primary education. This is primary. We're primary educators. I'm a third grade. And even though they try to throw us in with fourth, fifth, and sixth and say, you know what? We're accelerating. We're rigorous. We got to put you up there. We really want to keep kids as young and developed as possible. If you develop them, then later they're full. And they can participate fully as a family person or in our community. Now, I don't know if that's your philosophy, but we're talking about futuring up in an LCAP that didn't have a lot of contributions from our teachers or the public. As you remember, I spoke about that at McDowell wasn't even on the marquee, and very few people attended. It was embarrassing, actually. The people that participated were the people that sort of got together once in a while and met and had their little thing, and we kind of were routed around, and we didn't get much to say. So now that's guiding us. That document that a few people came up with is guiding us. And my talk tonight was on ALD. I know it sounds like a disease, and it kind of is. It's called academic language development. And we are now being asked to take our kids out of their class community and route them away from their community out of the context of what they're learning in project-based learning. So they sit for a half an hour with a BRT, and most of them are of color. And I am particularly upset by this because it is a form of resegregation at the school site. Now, it was bad enough under No Child Left Behind that Petaluma kind of moved to do a little segregation here. And we had some brown schools, if you will, and we had some white schools. And then there was an embarrassing comment that came out from the management that said, spread them out. And it was very embarrassing, and I'm glad it didn't get out to the public. And those spread out kids from the English language community, they came over to Valley Vista because that was the designated site. We got designated. So they came, and cousins, they're wonderful families, they're wonderful. And they filled us up, and they actually went to the hot lunch program, so now there's twice as many hot lunches, and they're all on styrofoam plates. Environmentalists here. They're all on styrofoam plates, and that goes into the recycle bin. So our recycle bin is full of double plastic bag, styrofoam plates. And it's been oh yeah, thanks. So this academic language development, the ALD, is now taking this model to a school site and breaking it out from the actual core curriculum principles that we've heard about. And if this has any semblance to core, this is rotten at the core. And I really want this board to think and consider how we're breaking kids out, because I loved seeing those kids tonight. They were diverse, there was gender equity, there was just like, they were proud, and they were from all different, and they had a glow, but that was 7th, thank you, that was 7th and 8th graders. We are doing this now to our youngest, so that in another 8 years, you will see a different kind of situation. Thank you.
Sandra, I've got budget in this stack.
It's not negotiations, it's the
Okay,
budget that was
yeah,
presented.
want to make sure. And then I've got negotiations over here. Okay, so let's go budget.
Me?
Sure. You or Kim, you choose.
I just wanted to address some of the budget report that was presented last time, and sometimes you know how you think afterwards. Part of that, there was a big slide that we had overstaffed, and that was going to cause deficits for 3 years. And then I went to the 10-day meeting and learned that part of that was a mistake in double counting the classrooms, the special ed classes from Sonoma County. And that was why we had overstaffed as much cost as we did. And then Steve said parcel tax was going to pay for that teacher that was overstaffed. There was money in there. So I just wanted to bring out that that is no longer coming out of the general budget. That was money. Once again, we saw I pointed to where it was. We saw a report that was way worse than it probably should have been, and that's what we've been dealing with for years. The second thing was there was $500,000 marked for certificated staff and salaries that was not paid. We underpaid by $500,000. That was the overage. I don't have the slide exactly. Some people would think, well, wow, that should be retroactive for all the certificated employees that worked that year when that money was left. You might be surprised that we have a paper trail with that money that I will get together and present to you next time. The second interim report, March 2014, we identified $500,000 that was sitting there to move people up step and column. Sent letters to Midge and to Steve. I will get you copies of all of those saying, we don't believe this is a real cost. This is, can we please talk about this? How many people are going to retire? Last year it cost nothing. This year suddenly it's costing $500,000. It looked like money being hidden after a while. At first, when we were started negotiations, we were naive thinking, well, we found something. Let's talk about this. Here it is. But that clearly wasn't the goal of both sides to find money for us. So I have letters from Midge a month or two ago telling me it was far too early to tell, even after school started, what the salary of all the new employees were, because we were suddenly hiring employees at the top of the salary scale, and it clearly wasn't handled in an upright, transparent way. So I just want the board to know that we weren't shocked at that $500,000. As early as March, we wrote letters, requests for information. Never once did that $500,000 come back on the table. And it probably should have been, because that was budgeted for last year and not paid out to certificated employees. And still, had they done that, I believe, Mike, you were right about conservative budgets, you would have still been over $1.3 million, I think, under what was budgeted to spend that year, had you paid the certificated employees the money you had budgeted for them. Thank you.
Sorry.
Kim.
Can't believe I've never done this, and now I'm doing it twice in one night. Well, I'm really here because I'm just so tired of this t-shirt. And if I have to wear this too much longer, I'm going to have to bedazzle it or something. But I really would like to get back to having quieter, more peaceful school board meetings and trusting that everyone is, doing what they need to do. And I really loved seeing all those kids, and I think that is our common ground, is seeing kids that have achieved so much, who are so bright, and their accomplishments, and just the joy and love in the room, and we're all here for the same thing. But I wanted to tell you guys, I read some of your bios in the newspaper, and a few of you school board members said, you know, that you think the district is doing really well, and we're not. And this week is the first time that I have seen just a drastic reduction in morale. And it's frickin' serious. There's shoulders slumped at school, there are teachers sighing all the time, there are people who are not in good moods, and this is trickling down to those kids who are standing right here. We are with these kids more than their families are. We are with them for 6 hours a day. And if we're not happy, it's going to have an effect on the kids. And we're not happy because we don't feel valued. And we don't feel valued because we don't feel that the money is going to the right places. If there are monies for retreats, or for people to have promotions, or to hire a new person that's making 6 figures as another curriculum person, then there should be money for the teachers who are in the trenches. We have heard doom, gloom for years, but there have been people who are doing pretty well in administration. And there are people who are having their iPhones paid for and getting gas allowances and going on retreats. And there are new people being hired in administration. And I'm asking that if a person comes up here, I thought about putting on a suit, so I'd have, you know, I really want to be heard here. A man came in a suit. Please, do not think that is the only way to disaggregate those figures. You need to get more creative. And there are ways that you can give teachers the very meager amount of money that we're asking for, which is not even a raise, it's just a cost of living increase. I mean, it's really demeaning. It's demeaning to us. We are being asked to do more. Be on this committee, be on this committee. We are being asked right now to do things outside of our contract where there is a stipend. You know what the stipend is? $24.95 an hour. Do you know what I pay my daughter's Algebra 2 teacher? $60 to $70 an hour. This is just, it's embarrassing. My daughter makes more after taxes probably babysitting. It's like $17 an hour that you're giving people that have master's degrees, who've been teaching for 20 years, who are working really, really hard. And it's gonna have an effect on the kid. And I'm just saying, the proverbial you-know-what is gonna hit the fan. Get back to the table, start talking about it. We are all here for those kids that were here. We all are here for them. We have the same goals. Let's not argue about stupid stuff. Just get together and talk and figure this out and make your teachers a priority. Thank you.
All right, so this is negotiations, everybody gets 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Brent Newell. I'm a parent of 2 children in the district. One's at McNair, one's at the junior high, Petaluma Junior High. And I'm glad that I got to speak directly after that eloquent teacher did, because she really introduced the point that I wanted to make, which is the importance of your valuing the teachers is your most important asset here. Obviously, you're not in the classrooms teaching. Your superintendent is an accountant by background and doesn't have the education background that they do. I'm really concerned. I ran into a teacher on Sunday, just 2 days ago, and I asked how the contract negotiations were going, and she said there was still no negotiations because the district was refusing to meet with the teachers union because the teachers union wanted to have observers in the negotiations. That's a ridiculous reason not to negotiate. I mean, really. So I want to make 2 requests while I'm up here during my however many minutes. The first is that you place on the agenda for the next meeting an item to explain to the public why the school district is refusing to negotiate with the teachers. I, and I think other parents, would like to hear this and have an explanation so that we can comment on it and understand why you're taking this hardball negotiating position. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was a point that I made when I was here 2 weeks ago, which is your contract offer, which was actually brought up during the meeting. You said you were offering 2.5% over the 2007 year. Why that's so low? I don't understand it. I Googled what the rate of inflation was over the 7-year period, and it's 2% every year, 14% for the whole time, and you're only offering a 2.5% increase over the 2007 contract year. Now don't tell me that the wage chart or scale or whatever that thing is some kind of cost of living adjustment, because it's not, because people earn that based on their experience. The teachers who are at the top of that scale, who are topped out, they don't get a cost of living adjustment. They haven't had a cost of living adjustment this whole time, and you're giving them 2.5%? Their money is eroded in value over those years, and you're only rewarding them a 2.5% increase over that? I don't even know how to rationalize that. So the second request that I'd like you to do is put an agenda item on the next meeting to have a report on what the cost of living is in Petaluma and how it's changed since 2007, the rate of inflation, how people's purchasing power is eroded, what the cost of housing is. I'm concerned about the new teachers who are coming in to replace the more experienced teachers who are retiring, and how they're able to afford to live in this community or within a reasonable distance to this community. You know, they're not serfs.
Thank you.
One teacher just, in my younger son's class in 5th grade, she's a brand new teacher, and I'm concerned how people like her are going to be able to live in this community and be effective professionals. Because it's, you know, they got to go to college, they got student loans are very high. I think it's unconscionable for you to approach the compensation of these teachers in the manner that you're doing. So please place an agenda item for that discussion so there can be some public discourse and explanation and understanding by the board so that you understand what it's like to make ends meet and how difficult it is given the cost of living changes that are happening very rapidly in this community. So thank you.
Thank you. That wasn't Christy. Christy, here we go.
It's Christy.
Sorry.
I don't have that projected voice.
Well, neither do I. So I'm going to try really hard.
All right.
Okay. My name is Christy Holquest, and I teach kindergarten at Valley Vista. I've been at Valley Vista for the last 4 years, but I have a total of 20 years of teaching experience in both Marin and Sonoma counties. My own children attended McNair, and they currently go to Petaluma High School. I love my job. I can't imagine doing anything else. Kindergarten is magical. It truly is where we learn the lifelong lessons of sharing, playing fair, saying you're sorry, practicing the golden rule, and balancing your life with work and play. As much as I love my job and I feel appreciated by my students, I'd like to feel appreciated by you, my employer. Smiles, hugs, and colored rainbows aren't going to pay my mortgage. A cost of living allowance would help. I've experienced pay cuts when I switched school districts. I chose that pay cut. I didn't choose this year to earn less per month than I did last year. We all deserve a cost of living increase. Teachers work hard and we're being told to do more and more without being compensated. I'd invite anyone who wants to come into my classroom to experience firsthand the happiness and the hard work that happens in kindergarten. Come in and play alphabet bingo, help with the painting easel, turn a jump rope, put on a Band-Aid, read a story to my class and watch their eyes light up. Please, think back on everything you learned in kindergarten. It's everything you need to know now. Show your respect, play fair, treat others how you want to be treated, and come back to negotiations. Thank you.
Karen.
Hi there, Karen Tamborski. I'm with Petaluma High School special day class teacher. We are here collectively before the board tonight to try and address you and encourage you to move ahead with negotiations. Please come back to the table regarding our contract discussions for the employees of the Petaluma City School District. I'm not sure, and pardon me if I am wrong, that the board fully realizes how hard teachers and support personnel are working. We've always been dedicated and diligent in our pursuits of serving students, helping them to realize their future and work toward their goals. I want you to know we have not declined, decreased, or forsaken our jobs, even when the demands in the workplace have increased beyond compare, and current utilities and instruments we use to complete our job duties have declined. We have risen to the occasion, trying to embrace Common Core, smarter balanced testing, the portal services, SACE, Google Docs, and the like, all while not being supported and included in decisions which affect our workday and how the work is completed. Teachers and staff are attentive, compassionate, and still ever diligent about supporting students. We care deeply about student growth and how it impacts their future. We work extremely hard to assist students and show improved test scores, which in the end reflects on the district. We develop creative and relevant curricular activities and bring peer-to-peer support networks together. We are being bombarded with new programs and advancement in technology while still dealing with antiquated working conditions and pitfalls throughout. There is no longer the idea of shared decision-making practices. Programs are being implemented with the directive of "you will do." We are constantly being asked to do more and still being left to hang to get any compensation for the increases in our workload. We have not received a fair and equitable raise in 7 years. We are counselors, teachers, social communicators, psychologists, psychiatrists, nurses, custodians, listeners, an arm to cry on or a hand to shake. In the schools, we do it all, and we are asking for the support and respect from our board for all that we do. We are not, I will repeat, we are not glorified babysitters. That we can do with our eyes closed. Our eyes are rather wide open. We are the teachers of the future that stands before us. Please come back to the table. Come into our classrooms. See what we do every day. You will be amazed because I know I am. Thank you.
Me. So I'm Shelley Kincaid. I've taught in this district for 33 years. My children all went to Petaluma City Schools. They were sitting up here one night and got a great award. I'm also a community member. It's very hard for me to come up here and talk tonight, but I'm going to tell you that I want to talk about the doing of education. The doing of education, quote unquote. Being an educator is not an 8 to 3 job. I'm sure you know that. It's a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week job. My children, my students, are on my mind all the time. Our job requires both skills and creativity. It requires a person who can assess the needs of her students and move them forward in their learning. We have to research. We have to develop curriculum so as to best meet the needs of our students. An educator must be able to openly and honestly communicate with parents to let them know about their own children and their learning needs. That's part of our job every day. An educator has to be a good listener, a good communicator, a nurse, a therapist, a nutritionist, and a colleague. In order for an educator to successfully perform these skills, there should be a supportive and equally hardworking and transparent, open district to back her up. There needs to be trust and recognition from the district that we are professionals who bring highly developed skills to the classroom every day. In turn, we deserve and expect to be adequately compensated for our work. To continue to shrug your shoulders and say, we wish we could find money, is no longer acceptable. The current standoff is more a question of priorities than a question of money. And until teachers, as well as students, become the #1 priority, there will be no resolution here. The morale and trust in this district is the lowest I've seen in my 33 years. I beseech you as school board members to speak to our superintendent and ask him to come back to the bargaining table.
Thank you very much. It's 8:05. I would like you all to stay. I will give you an opportunity if you need to go, but we're going to break for 2 minutes and come back and finish up the rest of the meeting. So, 2-minute break. All right. We're back. Board of Activities, correspondence to school board members. We've got back to school nights. Casa Grande, Cal, San Antonio, Petaluma Health Center, Casa Grande, McKinley School Visit. Mary Schaefer and I had a meeting with Sam and Chelsea at Valley Vista. Site visit over at Mary Collins and Pengrove. Some various meetings with some teachers and Boys and Girls Club Rise and Shine breakfast. When was that?
This morning.
That was this morning.
That was this morning.
Apparently you didn't go. I guess I slept through it. Was that the one in Moreno or was it up here?
Moreno.
Oh, which one? Who was the speaker?
White Clark.
Serious?
Serious.
And he asked about you. Yeah. Well, I would expect that. Okay. All right, moving on to item K, agenda approval of the consent agenda by consolidated motion. I didn't see any changes in the agenda, so we'll take it.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Let's go to Administration and Human Resources, the amended 2014-2015 student attendance calendar for Mary Collins Cherry Valley Charter School. I'll first take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And then I'll ask for some discussion on when they get in. Mr. Everett.
Yeah, I can just explain real quick. And you approved a different calendar back probably in February. It was a different administration. The teachers and the staff, the principal came to us and my understanding is the staff also requested to change their day to align with the rest of the school district so that they could participate in the professional development that's happening October 13th. And so we are coming to you asking that they be able to do that. One of their major concerns was that it is the first day they come back from their break, and 12 of their teachers were signed up to be part of the professional development that day, and so they really did not want to come back the first day and have, well, their teachers out. One of the other components to this is that what that creates is their day, I think it was the 24th, was a work day, and the 13th is a professional development day. And so all the other schools have 3 professional development days and 2 work days. So just switching this would create a 4 professional development day and only 1 work day. And so we are also requesting that the January 6th professional development day for the rest of the district for Mary Collins be a work day, and the teachers there can choose to participate as their work. They can participate in the professional development, or if they would rather do some other work that they deem is necessary for their classrooms, that they would be allowed to do that.
So this was a decision that was, that began with staff?
Yes, I believe that the staff came to the principal saying, we're concerned that there were going to be 12 of us out that first day. And so the principal came to me, and immediately I contacted the Federation and the association to say, are you guys aware of this? Is this, you know, are you in agreement?
Okay.
And I was told that they were, and so we moved forward to bring this to you.
So please tell me that if we do this, there won't be parents with pitchforks and fire sticks, whatever we call those things, coming here because we changed late and somebody's stuck in somewhere.
How does it affect kids?
Yeah, that's where I was.
So the kids will now not be at school, but it is, instead of, okay, my belief is, and I can't guarantee there won't be pitchforks or...
What would that be like anyway?
Yes, yes. So this way, after their 3-week recess, they will miss that first Monday. It'll be a non-student day. Okay. The other way, they would have come back that Monday, and then 2 weeks later, they would have had a 3-day weekend. Okay. Now, can I guarantee you that nobody planned anything for that 3-day weekend? No, I can't do that. I do know that the school put out a memo without asking me first, because I then said I have to come to you first.
But they're on break now, so they had to try to notify parents.
They did, yes, and that's why we wanted to come here as quickly as we possibly could, because when they get back on break, this is...
They're on break, aren't they?
They are on break, yes. When they come back, this is the first day.
Right, so do
they did
the
get-
parents know
Yes, they
not
have-
to come back on break?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that was my big issue.
Yes.
And for those that may have, and I know this is a Pandora's box, but I'm open anyway, for those that may have made plans, any accommodation that we can do for the family that's going to have, I mean, a kid out of school?
For the 3-day weekend?
Yes.
A couple weeks later?
I'm sure that I can't speak for the teachers, but I would, I believe that they will, as the community that they are, will take care of those parents and those families.
I think that's important.
Yes.
So a memo was sent out, I'm just really
I
concerned.
think it was a phone
that-
message.
It was a phone message, okay. I just want to make sure there's multiple ways, because there are some parents who don't necessarily pay attention.
I know that's hard to believe, but there are some people that don't listen
When
to the
somebody
phone
says
calls.
this is Mary Collins calling,
Some people are saying
They might not.
everything stops.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure somehow those parents know, so that they're not showing up on that Monday going, I thought our break was over. So just want to make sure.
I will do everything.
You're on it.
Thank you for commenting on my intelligent comment there.
I was just wondering where you're going with it.
Yeah.
And
So
hopefully
was I.
they're watching us on Petaluma Community Access, so they know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're doing on their break.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So, on go forward, I was just assuming somehow that when we did this, Ron, I'm sorry, don't state it, on a go forward basis, so I'm assuming that this was a oops, slip through the cracks when we did the original schedule. I know that you're juggling many schedules, so.
I believe it was a change in the thinking and the administration and the request for teachers to be part of the professional development that's going on.
Right, that happened after.
I'm fairly certain that they will look at that carefully this year before they make a request for next year.
So one could assume that the current principal at Cherry Valley, Mary Collins at Cherry Valley, values that training such that we'll adjust our numbers that way.
Yes.
I guess that's what. Cool. Did we get all those in favor? I got
Yes,
lost in the moment there.
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you. All right. For purchase orders and lists of expenditures, do I have anybody that needs to recuse themselves for conflicts of interest of a business nature? Mike, you're good? Good. Phoebe, you're good? Okay. So let's go item 5, purchase order, list of purchase orders in accordance with board policy 3314, provided to the board for approval. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6, list of expenditures, for the board to approve.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Let's hear about the 10-day enrollment report.
Well, at the last meeting, it was mentioned as part of the unaudited actuals, but our 10th day enrollment numbers were down 222 students from projected. And virtually every campus was down. I think Kenilworth and the 6th grade, no, Kenilworth was about the only school that wasn't down. Our special ed numbers were up, but most of that had to do with taking back the scope for classes. So as Midge reported at the last meeting, it's not going to impact 14-15. We'll be waiting for the CBEDS numbers on October 1st to make our enrollment projections for future years. But it will have some impact on 14-15 and a more significant impact on future years. So that's 222 students.
Because we received funding based on last year's numbers if they are higher.
If last year's numbers were higher, correct. So we have
Except for
declining enrollment, except for charter
charter
schools.
schools.
Yeah, we have declining enrollment protection from the state, except charter schools do not have that.
So you'll know October 1st or
So
roughly by the next
October 1st, we will
regular.
do the CBEDS count that we do on an annual basis. Now, it's what we use for our multi-year, 5-year projection.
Okay.
ADA. 1.5 million is approximate number of 222 students in our district. So even though it's not an impact this year, it could potentially be an impact next year. We'll look at the numbers. And as the board's well aware, our 5-year projections have been very accurate historically. And so we'll be looking at the projections and seeing what the problem is. But it appears that 3 classes in which we're most vulnerable, kindergarten, 7th grade, and 9th grade, where students come into our district, we didn't have as many students transferring in as we had in the past.
So that was my question for you, Steve. Are we seeing that we don't have as many people transferring in, or we have more than we anticipate transferring out? Is it a combination of both?
That report will be coming back to the board in regards to interns and inters, and we'll look at that on a multi-year basis as far as inters in and inters out to see if we think we're losing. But one thing to note is Cotati Runner Park had their first increase in over 15 years, I think, in their district. And we know we have significant transfers in from that district. Old Adobe, I think, had their first increase in a number in many years. And that's another district where we've typically had students transferring into our district from.
Okay. Any other questions on that? When will we get that intro?
Debbie,
I'm sorry,
are we ready to do that? Are we going to be ready to do that for the next meeting?
Yes, we will.
So that's
Can you give us
the 14th, so 3 weeks.
Not to put you on the spot. You gotta.
You know what, I actually just started to do the numbers, so I haven't compared them to last year.
I may call you a couple times. Thank you.
Well,
I
just
mean to
call
put
the
you on
main,
spot. I
the district main number.
I'll stop by on my way to Kenny's. How's that? Okay, no other further discussion on that? That's not a voting item, so we'll just move on. Okay, moving on to Educational Services, item 7, resolution 1415-14. Board of Education, Petaluma City Elementary School District, to comply with the requirements of Education Section Code 60119 through 60252 regarding sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials for the 2014-2015 school year. I guess I could have put those together, but I'm not going to do that. I'll take a motion.
Second.
Second. Discussion on that?
This is a yearly thing that we do according to the Williams Act, and it is for this year that we have sufficient textbooks for all of our students, and it's not just textbooks, but it is instructional materials.
Okay.
Okay? And we have, our principals have verified that we do have sufficient instructional materials for all of our students.
Okay. I think it might be a fair statement to say that we comply with this, but clearly based upon some comment, there may not be a high level of satisfaction with what we've complied with. Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And then you're in? You're opposed?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to comment on it or just straight go opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. That's a 4-1. And then item 8, resolution 1415-15 of the Board of Education of Petaluma Joint Union High School District to fully comply with the requirements of the Education Section Code 60119 through 60252 regarding sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials for the 2014-2015 school year.
Second.
It's for the high school district.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, there's two of them because one's for the elementary district, one's for the high school district. Sometimes we combine them, but we're on a roll. I want to see if we can get it to 9 o'clock today. All those in favor?
Yeah, and I would like to also just express that, that I have heard from outside of this meeting tonight concerns about textbook sufficiency. But based on my knowledge, yes, it's not necessarily the ideal, but we do have the resources. So I want to make sure people know I've heard outside of tonight's meeting.
Well, as I understand, this means we're meeting a minimum standard as appropriate,
Yes.
but we should strive
But we would like to do better.
Right, we
Yes.
should strive for much better, because in listening to some of those teachers talk, I mean, backup textbooks or at least something, if I heard them correctly, at least in the elementary school, they were certainly looking for.
The elementary school actually has all its textbooks, and we actually bought new workbooks and everything for the elementary school. So they're
In math and English?
math and English.
Okay. So it's the junior high and high school?
The junior high is the only one that has the ebook.
Okay. That's
And
where Miss
that's
Bain was
only
coming
in
from, I
math,
think, when
right.
she said 8th
It's
grade.
only in math at 8th grade.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something we need to consider, because that sounded like a pretty impassioned plea.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay, no?
You have to slam to.
Those opposed,
You
yes.
say opposed. Okay, 4-1. Okay. Let's briefly talk about future business. We have to go back into closed session since I was tardy, of which I will serve my detention at a future date.
No, you're by done.
So we can finish closed session discussion. So future business for our next meeting, Steve, what do we have coming up?
Next meeting will be pretty routine, I believe, for first meeting in October. We will be coming back with a proposed change to board meeting schedule, in that we inadvertently established the 1 March meeting on the 3rd Wednesday. And we're required to have the second interim report done and approved by the board before the 15th of March. So we're going to need to move it back to the 10th, I believe, is the date. So that would be, Tuesdays, yes, excuse me.
So you're going to propose, we're going where, so I can
We're going to
tentatively
propose
it on
to
the calendar?
change the board meeting from the 3rd Tuesday to the back to the 2nd Tuesday.
In March.
We'll make, in March.
Okay.
I will put 5 meetings, or 5 weeks between meetings, but if we need a special meeting to approve something in between, we'll have to request that as well.
Got it.
We
can talk
also
about that.
are going to have a report on summer school and how summer school went.
Very good.
Our very first summer.
First
It's
summer
been a
school,
while.
several
Yeah.
years.
Okay, so we are going to go back to closed session.
Thank you.